Hi, this is Joel giving another review. And the reason why I haven't done a review in a while because I've been, you can tell by my voice, I'm still a little bit under the weather, getting over a cold. So I took almost the whole last week off. So, excuse me. As you can tell, I'm still under the weather a little bit. Figures. And wanted to do a review of this particular review last week before Halloween. But since I was, sick, so I postponed it for a week. I'm going to do it now. And I'm going to do a review of the Simpsons Halloween shows, otherwise known as the Tree House of Horror. Of course, this show is starting way back in the 1990s, usually the most anticipated show of the whole Simpsons season, but not really at first, but over the years it has become that. Um, because the Simpsons Halloween specials has been so good. It's usually the highlight of the whole season because as the years have gone on, and the Simpsons have been on the air since 1989, or even before then with the Tracy Ullman show. So they're trying to keep the show good, but the longer it's been on the air, the worse the show is beginning, and that's right up there with the Halloween shows. Usually, at the beginning, before Fox bought the rights for baseball and for football, the Simpsons Halloween show usually come on either on Halloween itself or just before Halloween, and so of course it was more appropriate to have it on then. But with the extended playoffs and of course the World Series, in some cases they had Halloween on Simpsons Halloween shows after the holiday itself, or at least after the World Series, and they even put this in some of the episodes. Well, in the beginning they did. The one thing the Simpsons Halloween show is so good is that they did parodies of a lot of the Twilight Zone episodes, and that's what really were the best clips. Of course, the Simpsons Halloween specials had three stories, and then of course they had the big climax at the end where they had some kind of an in joke at the end of it, um, or some kind of closing musical number. But for the first Simpsons show, they had the reason why they called it the Treehouse of Horror was because the first show, also as well as the second one, I think in terms of the first three shows, they really told horror stories. Because the very first special was us Bort, Lisa, and Maggie were at Bort's treehouse and were telling scary stories. So I guess because of that, they call it Treehouse of Horror. And they in the second show, where second year, they also did the same thing with nightmares. And then the third episode, they had a Halloween party in the Simpsons house, and they also told scary stories. And then after that, they did like just parodies of the shows without um, any introductions at the beginning. I think they did it once more with Boy. The introduction of each one of the stories on the Halloween shows. But the first show was very very good because they did a spoof of uh, one of the Twilight Zone episodes. It was the famous To Eat Man or the Superman episode with aliens cooking humans, and they did a parody of that. That's when a lot of the early Simpsons Halloween shows were good because they did parodies of the Twilight Zone episodes. But then after a while, they stopped doing it because they took out some of the better ones and some of the more infamous ones on the Twilight Zone, and they parodied it. They parodied that one, and then they did a parody with the 20th Danger 3,000 Feet, the episode with William Shatner in it. The boy having a nervous breakdown on a school bus, and he sees a gremlin on the school bus, so storming back to school. That was also very good. And also did a parody with the Billy Murray episode with boy having extra powers. Think happy thoughts, and Bart turning Homer into a Jack in the Box, which of course those were the Twilight Zone episodes they parodied in the early episodes of the Halloween shows. Of course, the first one really topped it off. They had a reading of the famous poem Edgar Allan Poe, "The Raven," which was read by James Earl Jones. Of course, when he comes out to the first line, and of course, Bart was the Raven, which was really great and really clever how they did it. And of course, when he come up to the first line, "Nevermore," quote the Raven, "Nevermore." Something "Nevermore." You see Bart saying, "Eat my shorts," which was one. Bart said his trademark, which is of course don't say anymore. Of course, as the years go on, like I said earlier, they ran out of spoofing the Twilight Zone episodes, so they decided to stop doing it. But one thing that I did like in the first couple of episodes was they spoofed the introduction of the movie Frankenstein, or the original Frankenstein movie, with Marge giving a warning saying that this episode was scary. And of course, the third episode, or the third Halloween show, you had Homer spoofing the beginning of um, the Alfred Hitchcock Presents television show. And which of course he also gave a warning about how that the episode was scary, but then after the first three episodes they stopped. They also stopped doing that bit as well. Um, which I guess of course people got tired of doing it, of the Simpsons giving out this warning of spoofing the introduction of the movie Frankenstein, so they stopped. Thank you. So they stopped doing that bit as well. Also, one thing they also did was they also spoofed. Uh, Over the years, they also spoofed a lot of movies. And I think one of the first movies they really did was they spoofed King Kong, with Homer being King Kong. They also did one spoof with the 1982 movie Bram Stoker's Dracula, with Mr. Burns being Dracula. Then, of course, at the end of that episode, you also had a spoof of the Charlie Brown Christmas, which was "Happy Halloween, everybody," and they did that spoof, which of course was clever. You had Santa's little helper dancing around like Snoopy, which was quite clever. But then, of course, after a while, you do get tired of the parodies, and they did uh, original stories. But after a while, this gets tiring, and the Halloween shows is not as good as the first few shows, like I've already mentioned. One of the other shows that's uh, really good, one of the more recent ones that became very good, but one that I was very interested in seeing, was a spoof of the Simpsons spoof of the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, which was really terrific. And they had Millhouse portraying Linus, and believing in the Great Pumpkin, and the Great Pumpkin actually did exist in the Simpsons universe, and he became like a deranged monster because he got mad that people were carving up his fellow pumpkins. So he goes on a killing spree. Of course, they also did spoofs of modern stuff that's like clearly happening, like in 1990. I think it was the 10th episode, or the 10th Halloween special, when they spoofed the Y2K bug. And Homer being an incompetent bozo and what blew up all the computers, and so they got on the two aircrafts. One went to Mars, and the other one went to the sun. And all of a sudden, they had like the worst people on, like Spike Lee, Rosie O'Donnell, Tom Arnold, Pauly Shore. I mean, it was really funny, and with Homer yelling, "Oh no, Rosie O'Donnell!" And it was really, no, it was really funny. And of course, you also had original stories with one with Lucy. I think it was the same episode. We had Lucy Lawless, with Xena, and with a comic book guy collecting famous sci-fi people, and it was really funny, and it's it was pretty good episodes. But then, of course, slowly or surely the shows Just like the regular episodes of The Simpsons, the story to die out. That's how I feel about The Simpsons Halloween shows. When Fox first bought rights for baseball, it was only 1986, and they pushed back the Halloween shows to like November, to after the World Series, or if the World Series ended in 4 or 5 games, they put the Simpsons episode on just before Halloween or on Halloween itself, depending on what day of the week Halloween will come out on. But there's one World Series that because of 9/11, everything was delayed. So because of 9/11 attack, and so they had the Halloween show in November. And so they had the two aliens saying, "I can't believe they have a Halloween show in November." They said, "Yeah, I can't believe it. I already have my Christmas decorations up." And I mean, they did parody that. But unfortunately, with the events of 9/11, it was an inappropriate complaint, in my opinion, that they had it on there. But I think they had it a different year. I don't remember if it was exactly that year or not. Um, but I do remember they did it back after the World Series. They put the Halloween show on. But now because they rearranged the schedule of the playoffs and the World Series, now they get the because most playoff games are now on cable. Now they get the Simpsons Halloween show on before Halloween, so now they don't have to worry about being pushed off because of the playoffs, which annoy everybody. All I can say is tough shit. Okay, tough. I feel the playoff game should be on regular television, and the Simpsons Halloween show should have been on like now or this week. Um, because they decided to put the regular television shows ahead of the baseball playoffs. Um, in the last couple of years. Because if you don't have cable, you can't see the baseball playoffs, which is a disgrace. But that's my opinion. But in terms of it used to be funny when they used to parody, that they had the Halloween shows in November instead of in October because of the uh, World Series. But I used to remember when the World Series ended before Halloween. But now because they pushed everything back a week, now it's conflicts with Halloween now. The World Series and everything. But with the Sims, they do spoof that stuff on the Simpsons Halloween shows, but not the last couple of years because they got it on before Halloween. But I know I went on a tangent there, but before the Halloween, but the Halloween shows on the Simpsons used to be the best ones. They're really up there with the Halloween, and because it's animated, you can really go above and beyond what a regular television show or live action show does, and it's the show. I used to like the parodies of the Twilight Zone parodies and parodies of other. And they did one parody they saw because FXX on Halloween this past Halloween showed all the Simpsons Halloween shows, and they did spoof one with the 1938 War of the Worlds broadcast. But this time, instead of being a fake radio show like it was, yeah, actually did have an actual alien invasion of the Simpsons. And of course, they put in the Iraq thing in there. I thought we'd be occupied. We're going to free all these people and all this stuff. We just occupy us now. They put all that political stuff with the Iraq thing in the Simpsons Halloween episode spoofing the War of the Worlds radio broadcast. But at least I'm glad they did that on the 75th anniversary. I think they did that on 2 years ago on the 75th anniversary of the War of the Worlds radio broadcast, which I thought was great that they did that. That's what happened to do it in that year. But for the most part, except for the occasional skit, most of the Simpsons Halloween shows, at least in the last 5 to 10 years, have gone downhill as much as the regular episodes. And this year, in 2015, they did an actual Halloween episode before the traditional Simpsons Halloween show. Um, that one was when they went with Boy Homer and Lisa went to an amusement park And it's kind of like Bush Gardens, or not Bush Gardens, Green Adventure, or Six Flags, when they do like a Halloween thing every October. And Lisa got so scared of Halloween and anything associated with it. So Homer took everything down, all his Halloween decorations and all that stuff. And of course, by the end of the episode, Lisa comes around and is not scared anymore. But then they did the spoof with the two aliens with Carl and Lenny, Homer's friends, spoofing the aliens and speaking like them. It says, "Oh, this is not the real traditional Halloween. Show this next week." They parodied the episodes and they made a joke out of it. But in terms of the shows, it's still watching the Simpsons Halloween shows is still fun to watch, in my opinion. But like I said a couple times already, the quality has gone downhill. So that's my review of the Simpsons Halloween shows. I'm sorry I got this thing. I apologize again for getting this thing a week late. It just happened to get, sick at the wrong time. Please click on the video. Please rate it. Feel free to comment. Please subscribe to my channel and please forward this video to your Facebook pages. And not only can you watch all my episodes all my videos on my YouTube channel, you can also go to rowdyc.com. That's ROWDY.com. It's the home of the Rowdy Reviewer. My videos are up on his site, plus you can check out all of his videos as well. Please do so. He does a great job on his TV trash videos. Please check out his Charlie Brown shows as well. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.